Good morning, everyone, and welcome. It's a great day in Dallas, and it's supposed to be a hot day in Dallas if you looked at the temperature. So, I'm Janet Wynn, Associate Dean of Doctoral Programs, and I want to welcome you to our doctoral residency program. We're very glad you're here, and I want to see how many of our Residency 1 students do we have out there. If you'll please stand. Just stand for a moment. Congratulations, because you really made an important decision to pursue an advanced degree, what we call a terminal degree. Not because it's going to kill you, but we call it a terminal degree because it represents the highest degree that you can attain in your field. And that's quite a commitment. That's really something that you know you're going to spend a good deal of time with over the next few years, but something that's really going to pay off in the end. So this weekend we're going to do everything we can to help get you on the right road, the right track to lead towards your success in earning that degree. So now let me have our Residency 2 students stand. Them. They look a little different, don't they? You know, one of my favorite things to do at the reception is to try to pick out the Residency 1 and Residency 2 students. Which, okay, true, I see the Residency 2 students a second time, so I do have that advantage. But you can just look at them and see some difference, because don't they look more knowledgeable? And wise, tired maybe. All right, you can be seated. These are people you should get to know this weekend if you're in Residency 1. And I will say that one of the things that's so encouraging, because I just hear this every single time, is when I talk to the Residency 2 students, they all say, I can't believe I'm back already. I can't believe that I'm back for Residency 2 already. It seems like I was just here for Residency 1. And that should be so encouraging to you if you are a Residency 1 student, because the time really does fly. You know what they say, time flies when you're having fun, right? So the time really does fly. And that's a really positive thing, because I know when you start this, you think, I'm never going to finish. This is the next 4 years of my life, this is never going to happen. But you see, it does, and it goes quickly, and you can take encouragement from those Residency 2 students who will tell you, this part has gone so fast, I can't believe I'm back already. So, do we have any of our dissertation R&R students out here? Please stand if we do. Okay, dissertation R&R is called Dissertation Recharge and Recovery. They really don't come until 1 o'clock this afternoon, but every once in a while someone will come a little early. I know I saw some last night. Dissertation R&R is something we offer to students that are already in the doctoral research or dissertation process that are maybe stuck or having a little trouble and need a little extra help. So at the same time we're having our residency, we offer a little extra guided help to those students. So you'll see some of them throughout the weekend and perhaps have a chance to talk to some of them as well and hear their stories of their dissertation successes, challenges, and again, they'll likely tell you that the time goes much faster than you think. Okay, so I am so fortunate to be able to introduce our keynote speaker today. You know, every residency we try to find a keynote speaker who is going to be able to exemplify the kind of weekend that we hope to present to you this weekend, because we want somebody who understands your challenges and journey, but yet can still share the motivation that we have for this weekend and encourage you, not lie to you and say it's all going to be easy, but encourage you and help you know what really, what you have facing ahead of you, and just help pull our weekend together and get it on the right start. And that is not an easy task, especially when we go from city to city hosting residencies and we're trying to find just the right keynote speaker. But who better than an Argosy alumnus? Someone that's actually been through your journey, the kind of journey that you're going to have. Although each of you will have your own specific journey, there are definitely commonalities that you'll have at Argosy University that may not be true of other universities. And so we are very fortunate to have a return presenter because he's done such a great job in the past. We have Dr. Troy Allen joining us today. So let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Allen. Dr. Allen is the director and a professor of the Religious Studies program at the Defense Language Institute, the Foreign Language Center in Monterey, California. I know some of you know that. He's an active duty Army chaplain. Major Allen has served his country for years with assignments in Afghanistan, Kuwait, Qatar, among many of the places that he's been. We thank you for your service, by the way. As a chaplain, Troy's assignments primarily have been in hospitals, clinics, trauma centers, but his current position as professor and director of the Religious Studies program at the Defense Language Institute, it actually returns him to his education roots, because he actually began his career as a public school music teacher. Which, by the way, we've never asked you to sing up here exactly what that means. We might have to see about that. In the higher education realm, Troy also teaches and writes courses for South University's online Doctor of Ministry program. Troy's educational background is vast. It's as vast as his career assignments. He has a BS in music education from Southern Utah University, an MA in humanities from California State University, another MA in pastoral counseling from Liberty University, and an EDD in pastoral community counseling from Argosy University. Hooray! But guess what? Someone forgot to tell Troy that little part about the terminal degree, because after that he went on to complete his master's in theology in comparative theology from Santa Clara University, and if that's not enough, he is now working on, or have you achieved, working on his MFA in creative nonfiction from Regis University, and he hopes to publish personal essays, and he's even working on a play. So, I don't know how he fits all this in. I think we need to really have him teaching a time management session while he's here. Maybe we can squeeze that in. No doubt that Troy exemplifies what we call a lifelong learner, right? He really takes the value of education seriously, and he will tell you that he truly values education and regards it as the highest pursuit attainable. So, you can understand why Troy does value his free time when he has a little bit of it. And he likes to spend that with his wife of 23 years, and their two children, Canyon, who's 13, and Ala, who's 3. And they enjoy traveling, hiking, and kayaking, or just simply watching a good movie together. So finally, I want to share with you 3 ideas that Troy lives by that's good advice for all of us. 1 is always discover new things. 2, take a holiday from your seriousness. I like that. And 3, always take charge of your own life. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Chaplain Major Troy Allen.
Can you see my shirt moving? My heart is beating so fast, so hard, because I'm so honored to be here. And quite frankly, don't feel up to the task. Quite frankly, because you are dear to me. I received a text 5 minutes ago from a dear friend. She can't be here today. And she says, "Troy, I'm thinking of you." And this is the kind of people we have in this school. I have been associated with Argosy, I guess, Dr. Fuller, since 2006. I think 1906. And I will tell you, this is my extended family. And all of you who are now part of this family, welcome. And I am so glad that you're here. We're going to have a lot of fun this morning. A good writer always carries a notebook. And I have this one, and it's clear full of all kinds of stuff. I have no idea where this is going to go today, because I've written, and last night I was writing, and this morning I was writing. And hotels are strange places to write in. Our minds do funny things when we're in new places. Do you agree with that? Our minds do funny things when we're in new places, and this is a new place for many of us. Not just the hotel, but this experience of doctoral work. But I will tell you that this morning was a fascinating experience in that I got up early, started watching the World Cup, as I have for the past week or so. And I got in the shower, and that's not the funny part. The funny part is the water turned off. Now, I didn't make that up. The water actually turned off. And I was like, why? Why did this happen to me? And I'm completely soaked, completely. And I'm thinking, could I use the sink to rinse myself? This is what I'm thinking, as the water is no longer on. And I thought probably not. So I messed with it for a little bit, and it just wouldn't come back on. So I stood there. I thought, how do I show up to a keynote address like this, right? Honestly, I really was beside myself. I'm not making this up. And so I messed with the handle for a few minutes, and then the handle came off the shower. So now I'm standing. Now don't picture it too much, but we'll just go from the neck up. I've got this soap, right, in my hair. It's not a lot of hair, but a lot of soap, and the handle to the shower, right? And I thought this is quite a predicament I'm in, and my mind started racing, doing all kinds of funny things. And this is what happens to us. When we start to experience something new, our mind starts to race, and we can't quite grasp what we should do because our mind is somewhere else. And so, very carefully, I stepped back and I said, okay, let's examine this situation. I'll put the handle back on, and I'll try to turn it on just a little bit and see what it does. And if it doesn't, I will smash it a little bit and wiggle it and try to get it back on. And pretty soon, a little trickle of water came out, and I had just enough to rinse off. But then when I got out of the shower, the bathroom door was open. And I could have swore to you, I shut the bathroom door. But isn't this strange that our mind plays these tricks on us? And I will tell you that from the first get-go of my college experience, my mind played tricks on me because I thought my professors were out to get me. And from Matilda, I would like to read to you what Mrs. Trunchbull said to Matilda, because this represents what school is about for Matilda and Miss Trunchbull. She said this: "You are not fit to be in this school, madam." This is what happens when we read thoughts from our professors on our papers. They turn to this, okay? "You are not fit to be in this school, madam. You ought to be in prison," she says. "In the deepest, darkest, dankest prison, I shall have you wheeled out and strapped to a trolley with a muzzle over your mouth." Again, we're just reading comments from our professors on the papers, but this is what we're experiencing. "I shall crush you. I shall pound you. I shall dissect you. I shall strap you down to a table and perform experiments on you. I shall feed you to the termites, and then I shall crush you. into tiny fragments and into dust, and then I shall take that dust and feed it to the bloodworms. And then I'll take those bloodworms and I shall feed them to the birds, and the birds I shall let release into the air, and then I will shoot them down with a 12-ball shotgun. And so on, and so on, and infinitum, and infinitum. But what our teachers are really saying is, I love you. I care for you. I want you to do the best that you can. So we can forget Miss Trunchbull, because you will not experience it back here. And many of us have had amazing experiences in our college careers, in our university careers, and some of us have had professors like Miss Trunchbull, I am sure. But here it's been my experience that we are cared for, and above all, we are expected and wanted and loved and needed to achieve. And that's what's so exciting about being here today. And I'm so thankful to be here. And Texas is a great place for me. I had an imaginary friend growing up. Did you all have an imaginary friend growing up?
Yes.
Some were like, oh, where's this going now? Yeah. We were just talking about showers, and now we're talking about imaginary friends. So I had an imaginary friend when I was very young, and his name was Big John. And Big John was from Texas. Now, I grew up in rural Utah. I have no idea where Big John came from. He just showed up in my life one day. And he owned a construction company. Well, he did. And I was in love with bulldozers and tractors. And for some reason, Big John was from Texas. And I remember my mom telling me, how's Big John? I said, I'm sad he went back to Texas. And my mom said, maybe we should go visit. I said, to Dallas? And she said, one day you'll go to Dallas. So she's a prophetess, right? And so I got off the plane yesterday, totally expecting to see Big John. And all I got was 100-degree heat in my face. And I said, please, Lord, send me back to San Francisco. But I'm still looking for Big John. I think I signed at the mall yesterday, but I'm going back later today, so I'll be looking for Big John. But it's fun. It's fun. You never know where your life's going to take you. And the doctorate program will take you in places that you never dreamed you would go. Or maybe it was only in your imagination, and one day you'll be standing in Dallas, Texas, in a group of people, with Big John, I'm sure, standing right here, saying, go get him. And you will do that. The doctoral program, this lifelong learning, will open the doors for you in so many ways. And you should be so excited about that you cannot sit there. Get excited about education. And that's what makes my heart so full. You know, last week I just got back from London and went to Ireland. What a fantastic visit that was. I was able to present some work at a workshop in Ireland and then spend 6 days back in London. And we got to visit all of the great places. All of the great places. In Dublin, we went and saw St. Patrick's Cathedral. And my son said, is this like the guy that we celebrate? Like St. Patrick's Day? I said, yeah, this is his church. Wow. And then we went to Christ Church. And I said, you know that song, Handel's Messiah, that we sing at Christmas time? This is where it debuted. He's like, you gotta be kidding me. I said, this is it. And my daughter, we get back to London, we go to St. Paul's, we go to the great Hindu temple of London. And my daughter says, Dad, and she's 3, Dad, why does everybody talk like Peppa Pig here? I said, oh, the places you will go. Oh, the places you will go. And we went to Oxford Street, and it was busy. And it was hundreds and thousands of people going in every direction, like an ant farm. And the quietness had left, and the horns were honking, and the people were shouting, and it was so busy, and I just wanted to go back and be quiet. I wanted to pay attention, and I couldn't because of all of the sound. And life goes at 100 miles an hour, doesn't it? Or 1,000 miles an hour, some of you are saying. Because we get up in the morning, we have to get ready for work and school and whatever we're doing, and the shower breaks, and we have to figure out how to bird bath ourselves, to get down there, and somebody calls, and somebody needs this, and somebody wants that, and then we find out that we're sick, and we don't feel well, and it goes on, and on, and on, and oh yeah, by the way, I got this crunchy bowl breathing down my neck. But I would ask you to stop and pay attention. Stop and pay attention. We're all in this fight together. Think of that, of all the people that I saw, of everyone that I saw on my trip the past week to London, to Ireland, in the airplane, in the airports. We're all having the same experience, and what is it? Being human. And the more you can be human, and the more you can stop and think about that, and the more you can study, and the more you can learn, I promise your experience as a human will be better. But you've got to stop. You've got to pay attention. And I hope, David Dark calls this attention collections. Have you heard of this before? An attention collection. What is an attention collection? I love that. I love that idea. Well, it's paying intensely attention to things. It's like sitting on the plane next to a man who I could have not spoke to. I didn't know who he was. I could have just ignored him and kept my earphones in my ear. I could have said, I'm not going to bother him. He's not going to bother me. We're not going to say a damn word to each other all the way to Dallas. But you know what I did? I said, you know what? I'm going to say hi. I'm going to pay attention to him. I'm going to see what happens. I said, hi, how's it going? Like I'm some kind of alien for saying hi. And he said, it's going pretty good. I said, are you sure? What? Are you kidding me? Are you sure? This guy wants to know. He's not saying how you doing and then just walks off. I said, you sure you're doing all right? I said, because we're both in an airplane together. Where are you going? He said, I'm going to the NHL draft. I said, you don't look like a player. He goes, no, I'm a scout. I'm looking for players. I was like, sweet, now we got a conversation, right? It just took a second to pay attention to somebody, just 1 second. Do you know what attention collection does not look like? It looks like the time you drove home and said, how the hell did I get here? Uh-oh, you did it too. Yeah. You drive for 30 minutes and you pull up in your driveway and you think, wow, I hope I didn't run anyone over because I don't know how we got here. Or your spouse, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. Your spouse is talking. Uh-oh. You understand what I'm saying already, don't you? Talking. And all of a sudden something important comes out and you miss it. And I think we're all guilty of that. So stop and pay attention and see what's happening in this world. My wife is a great example of this, and I want to share with you a story. We're on the train in London, on the underground. It's hot, it's stinky, it's crowded, and I've got my 2 little kids, and I'm trying to make sure that they don't get kidnapped or something, right? Or we get off at the wrong stop, or what have you. I look over at my wife, and she's crying. Crying on a subway train? What's wrong with her? I thought. It's the jet lag, it must be. She's completely lost her mind. I said, are you okay? And she's like, and she went like this. She's pointing at someone. It's the person sitting next to me. And I look over and this woman is melting. She's sobbing. And my wife says to the lady, "Are you okay? Can I help you with something?" And they had this moment of attention with each other. Two complete strangers just looking at each other and taking care of one another. I was too busy. She was sitting right next to me. Maybe she got some bad news. Maybe she just got fired. Maybe she lost someone. We don't know. But when that lady got off that train, she looked at my wife and she said, "Thank you so much." That's the power of paying attention. And in your life, if you will take your schooling seriously, and if you pay attention, you will change this world. You will absolutely change this world if we can pay attention. So what do we pay attention to? Well, we pay attention to each other, for one. We check in with each other every once in a while. We check in with those that we care about. With those that we don't know, we check in with them too. And we pay attention to three specific things, and Janet mentioned this. We pay attention to, first of all, where did it go? There we go. We pay attention to new things, right? We pay attention to new things. We try to discover new things. What have you discovered new lately? Right? What have you discovered new lately? Think about that. My son and I love fishing. And one of the greatest things that we like to do is kayak fishing. Have you ever been kayak fishing before? It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. The bigger the fish, the more fun it is, right? And so we live on the Monterey Bay in California. Now the Monterey Bay is a giant bay, right? It's giant. It has some of the deepest water in the world. The Monterey Trench runs out of there, and it's thousands and thousands of feet of water. And we have whales and great white sharks and otters and sea lions, and the marine life is fantastic. But when you go on the Monterey Bay in a 14-foot piece of floating plastic, your life changes, doesn't it? Yes. And so my son and I are fishing in our kayak. We have a tandem kayak that we like to take out. And we didn't know how to catch fish in the Monterey Bay. We had no idea. We were coming from Alabama and Florida, so we knew how to catch warm water, but we didn't know how to catch cold water. So we went out there, and the first time we got absolutely zero fish. Zero. So we went back in and we said, this was not a good fishing day. What should we do? We said we should Google it. we should Google how to catch fish in Monterey Bay. So we Googled it, and the first thing that came up was shark attack kayak fishermen. My wife says, "You're not going back out there." I said, "Oh no, now we're really going back out there. Yeah, and we're going to drag something behind us too, right?" And my son said, "I don't think I want to go back fishing anymore." I said, "Well, let's look what else Google has to say." Oh, there's mermaids, right? So we went to the wrong source, first of all. Okay, we went to the wrong source to discover something new. We discovered something not true. Well, the shark attack was true. So where did we go? Where did we go to learn something new? Go to the source, right? Go to the locals. Go to people who have been there before. So we went to the fishing shop, the tackle shop. And this man says, "So, you want to catch fish in the Monterey Bay?" I said, "Yes, we do. That's why we're here." "Well, you're going to need about $200 worth of gear." I said, "What? $200? He's like, "Well, I could probably let you out of here for about $150. I said, "I'm a con artist." He's a con artist. He knows we're new. He knows we don't know what we're doing. I said, "Let's just look around and see what we can find." So my son and I looked around, and the guy said, "You're looking in the wrong spot." And he stood there like this. I said, "I want to discover something new. I want to catch a new fish. Please help us. And don't rip us off." So he looked at me and said, "All right, I'll get you out of here for $50. I said, "50's better than 200. I said, "But come on, it's just a fishing tackle. Just tell us what we need." Well, for $50, he gave us what he gave us what we needed. And we went out the next day. He showed us how to do it. He showed us how to rig the lines. We went out the next day, and we dropped the line in. And my son says, "Dad, I got a fish." I said, "Son, you just barely put that line in. You must have a sea otter or something." He said, "There's no way that's a fish. The line is barely in the water." He said, "No, Dad, I got a fish." Pull it up. He pulled it up. He didn't have one fish. He had two. Two fish, one on each hook. as if they wanted to show themselves. I couldn't believe it, right? I said, these guys want to go to the aquarium or something, right? The Monterey Aquarium. I said, these are dumb fish. These are stupid. I said, this might not be fun after all. These are stupid fish in Monterey. My son says, well, let's give him a chance, Dad. Let's give him a chance. Don't get so worked up already. I said, all right, well, let's try it again. So we put it, I said, try the other side of the boat. Like, this much is going to matter, right, in this ocean. He puts it in the other side. Dad, I've got a fish. Bring it up. He brings it up. He didn't have one fish, he had 2 more fish. I said, this is the dumbest fishing trip I've ever been on. I said, are we going to keep these fish? Can we eat dumb fish, or do we have to throw them back? My son said, we're going to throw them back. All right, we throw them back. I said, can't we discover something new? These fish are driving me crazy. They're just little fish. They're just hungry. They just want something to eat. I said, let's go down to the bottom where the big ones are. So I get out a new lure. It's this big, right? And I put that on my line, and I drop that thing in. I'm praying, please let it get by the little fish. And it gets to the bottom. And I said to my son, paddle. Paddle, paddle, paddle. And we're going to catch something big. So he starts paddling, and we did catch something big. I caught the most beautiful fish I've ever seen in my life. It wasn't big. It was about this size. I had no idea what it was. And we took a picture. And I wish I had the picture today to show you, because it was a beautiful green fish. It was beautiful, turquoise almost, with digital patterns on it. It was a strange looking fish. And we took this after our fishing trip back to the fish shop, and we said, what is this? He said, where'd you catch that? I said, what is it? He said, where'd you catch that? I said, what is it? He said, where'd you catch that? Now, I'm thinking he's probably calling Fish and Game at this point, right? Because I caught some, unique species or something. He said, did you keep it? I said, oh, no, we threw it right back. He's like, that's a lingcod. A lingcod. Is it any good? He said, that's the most delicious fish one can catch in Monterey Bay. If you want to try it, you can buy it for $50 a pound. You know what my son said to me? He looks at me, folds his arm, and says, way to go, you big dummy. We don't know what we have. Don't throw things away because of the way they look or the way they act or whatever. Understand what it is before you throw it away. You might actually like it. And that's how you discover new things. You go after it, you find things, and you don't judge things because the way they look or the way they smell or whatever. Right? Go on a quest to discover new things. Pay attention, and you'll find all kinds of amazing things, all kinds of amazing fish. Next is take a holiday from your seriousness. I love this one. I try to live by this one. I'm a pretty serious guy. I teach very serious subjects in school. I work in trauma centers and whatever, right? Serious places. But you gotta take a vacation from your seriousness. And I learned this when I was downrange in Afghanistan. I want to share this story with you. It was Christmas morning, and it was time to do my morning ritual. And so my morning ritual was I head out to the porta pot because I knew that if I got there early enough, it had just been cleaned, and nobody would bother me. Nobody would bother the chaplain at 5 in the morning on Christmas morning. Nobody's going to bother me. It was a clean porta pot. I had some time. It was quiet. And so as I went out there and I was sitting there, I walked by the guards who were always in their Humvee, sitting not too far from where I was going. I said good morning to them. They were 2 young kids with their earphones in, jamming out on Christmas morning, right? Nothing else to do but jamming out, listening to the CB. So I go into the porta pot. I'm about ready to sit down, and the loudest boom I've ever heard in my life rattled the porta pot. And then again. And I said, please, baby Jesus, do not let me die on your birthday in a porta pot in Afghanistan. And the booms got louder and louder and closer and closer. And I thought, I have no protective gear. I have some plastic over my head. That should help me. And I sat there and I thought, if I die today, it's going to be really a difficult day for some people. And I poked my head out of the porta potty, and I saw the 2 patrol people in their Humvee. And guess what they're doing? And they're just jamming out. They had no idea that 2 rockets had fell about between me and this wall. They had no idea. They didn't hear them. There was no sirens. There was no alarms. They had their headphones on. They were having a great Christmas morning, celebrating whatever they were celebrating. And then it all went quiet. And I went back in the porta-john, and I shut the door, and I locked the door, and I sat down, and I cried. And then I laughed. And then I cried, and then I laughed. Because I thought for a minute, if I die, there will be a handful of people that miss me. But in Australia, the world's going to keep going. And in India, they probably won't even know. And there'll be some sad people in my life. I know there will be. They'll miss me, I hope. And then I thought, you know what? This world's going to keep on going. You got to stop being so serious. You got to enjoy life. Life is so fragile and so short. We don't know when we'll be taken. We don't know how long we have here. But stop being so serious. Of course there are serious things, like bombs dropping between me and this door. That's serious. But oh well. Let's have some fun. Let's enjoy life. Because after all, probably people in Australia won't really care if you're here or not. Impact the people that you can, when you can, and live your life to the fullest every day. And stop being so serious, and enjoy life. Take a holiday. And then finally, take charge of your life. This is what's called the principle of stewardship. The principle of stewardship. Take charge of your life. What does that mean, take charge of my life? Well, being in the Army for almost 20 years, people will say, you haven't had any charge of your life, which is true. But I have. I've worked on school for many years. I've had a great life. I've had an enjoyable time, great assignments. But what does it really mean? Stewardship. When you earn your doctorate degree, what does that mean? It means you have the duty to fulfill what you've learned. You can't just go and sit somewhere and say, I'm Dr. So-and-so. So what? Do something about it, right? It's your stewardship. It's the principle of taking charge of your life. Because for every action, there is a reaction. So when I was at a park not too long ago, a little girl came up to me, and I was watching my children, and she says, Mister, she goes, I think I know you. I said, okay. And she was 5. I know she's 5 because I used to teach kindergarten because she stands like this. And I said, you know me, huh? I said, where do you know me from? She said, I don't know, that's what's bothering me. I said, okay, you want to talk about it? She's like, yeah. I said, okay. She has no idea who she's talking to here, right? She goes, you want to figure out where I know you from? I said, sure. I said, maybe it's art class. Maybe you know my daughter and I from art class. Do you go to art class? She says, no, I don't go to art class. Okay. Now it's a game. I said, maybe it's the grocery store. Do you go to the grocery store? Maybe you've seen us there. No, I don't live here. Now this is complicated. Now I don't know where my children are this time. I have no idea. I'm not paying attention to them anymore, right? I said, well, could it be school? Do you go to school? You don't live here. She's very confusing me now. I'm so confused. And I said, I know. I know where you know us from. You know us from church. Oh my God, mister, I would never go to church. Now she has my attention, doesn't she? I said, why wouldn't you go to church? She says, because my mom says it's a scary place. I said, well, your mom could be right. But now I have stewardship, don't I? I have stewardship. I have to say, yes, church is scary. But guess what? It might not be scary too. I said, so when you get older, I said, I don't know where I know you from, and you don't know where, I don't know. I don't know if this game has gone nowhere. But I will tell you what, you can believe the church is scary if you want, but when you get older, why don't you just go try it for yourself? Because sometimes, church is good and sometimes church is bad. But you have to make that decision when you're older. And she said, I like you, mister. I said, cool, I like you too. So she ran off and she played with my daughter, and she came back 30 minutes later with my daughter, hand in hand. And she says, mister, I want you to be my dad. I said, damn, this just got complicated. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I don't know your story and you don't know mine, but when we come to the park, if you need a park dad, I'm here. I'm here. And she said, that's cool. And she took my daughter by the hand and the two ran off and they played. And it's not because I did anything, it's because I have a stewardship to what? Be present, to teach, and to help people. And so do you. Each and every one of you in this room now have the responsibility to take what you're learning and to provide it to those you come in contact with. It is a huge responsibility. The more initials I attach to my name, the more responsibility you get. And that's just like you. When you say Dr. So-and-so, you better mean it. So look for new things. Always look for new things. Take a holiday from your seriousness and take charge of your life and be accountable for the things that you know. And mostly importantly is pay attention. Stop and pay attention. I want you to know how excited I am for all of you to either embark on this journey or continue this journey or finish this journey. But it's never done. It is never done. Thank you for your attention today. Your attention is a prayer to me. Thank you so much. May God bless you.
Didn't I tell you? He's amazing. Thank you, Dr. Allen. We so appreciate it. He's just segued into something I really wanted to tell you, and that's that we have an awesome weekend plan for you. We know what it took for you to be here. You had to leave family, you had to leave work. That's not always a bad thing, right? A little vacation. But it took some sacrifices to be here and your commitment. So we're going to do our best to make sure that it's worthwhile for you. In fact, we are going to do our best to make sure that it exceeds your expectations for what you thought you would get out of this residency weekend. We have a lot to offer, and so I challenge you, as Dr. Allen just mentioned, to be here, to really, while you're here, be here fully. Make this weekend about you. You've already left family and work and responsibilities behind, so this is your time to really make the best of this weekend and get the most out of it. Because I promise you that if you make that commitment, you will leave different than you came in today. And I can make that assurance with such, I can make that promise with such assurance because of the faculty and staff and administrators and people that we brought here to you today that I'm going to introduce you to in just a moment. So as you're making that weekend, this weekend about you, leave those phones on silent or turned off so you're not texting and such in class. Know that you got your family there taking care of your commitments. On that same note, we've notified your instructors that you're here at residency. So rather than you being all stressed out trying to finish that paper in the back of the room, right? We want you to leave that alone. We've told them you're going to be busy from 8 to 5 or 6 every day, and that we need your full attention at residency. So if you have assignments due, they are prepared to give you some extra time when you return to do them, so that you really have no assignments due this weekend. They'll give you a few days when you return back. So what you do still have to do is make sure you logged in for attendance purposes, right? Say something, hey, I'm in residency, because your W7000 instructors know you're here. Your R7035 qualitative research instructors know that you're here. But some of you may be in a class that's slightly different, a different research class or something that was substituted. They may not know you're here. So they know we have residency, but you may need to let them know, hey, I'm here at residency. So that's what you can post. But that gives you a little bit of break so you can relax and know that while you're in the session, you can really be paying attention and getting everything that you have to get out of it. So, Residency 1 students, we're really going to do our best to put you on the right track so you can succeed in your program and give you tips and things that you need to know. You'll have a lot of PowerPoints and activities and such, but you'll have a lot of wisdom imparted by your faculty as well. So it's those discussions and questions that you can ask that everyone's probably thinking or wanting to ask the same thing. It's a chance for you to have that face-to-face with your instructors and be able to ask those questions. So take advantage of it, get the most of it. And Residency 2 students, we know you've gotten the hang of those discussion questions, that posting by 11:59, right? Getting that paper into that submissions folder by 11:59. And you've gotten the hang of all that, but now you're entering that doctoral research process. And now you're like, okay, great, I just got the hang of this, now what? So that's what this weekend is about for you. It's about the now what. We're going to help you know just how to embark on that doctoral research study. What goes in it, how to do it, what resources are available to you, who can help you, how to stay on track. That's what this weekend is about for you, so that it'll get you ready for that next leg of your journey. So yes, while you're here, truly be here. And if you make that commitment, I can just guarantee it, I'll make that commitment and I'll ask you again at the end, and whether you feel like you left different than you came in. And again, I can make that with such confidence because of the faculty and staff and administrators that we've brought here with us today. We carefully choose a residency team trying to make sure that we have people that really can impart that knowledge, share their experiences, connect with you, answer your questions. So we have really a superior group of faculty that I want to introduce to you today. And I'll start with the Graduate School of Business and Management. I'll ask these people to stand, please, as I introduce you, starting with our department chair, Dr. Dale Mancini. And Roger Fuller, Dr. Roger Fuller, also from Graduate School. Our Graduate School of Business and Management consists of the Doctor of Business Administration degree and the Doctor of Education in Organizational Leadership degrees. So we thank them both for being here. And next, I'd like to introduce from the College of Education, two of our faculty members who are with us today, Dr. Judy Gillum and Dr. Larry Day Reagan. And in the College of Education, we have our Doctor of Education degrees in higher and post-secondary education, as well as curriculum and instruction. And then from the College of Counseling, Psychology and Social Sciences, we have our department chair, Dr. Pam Fitzgerald, and faculty member, Dr. Al Smith. We're laughing because we have a little joke about how hard that is to say. The College of Counseling, Psychology, and Social Sciences is a mouthful, right? And then finally, from our research department, my area, doctoral programs, we have Dr. Joanna Eastman. Many of you who who are in R7035 qualitative research have Dr. Eastman right now, so I'm sure you'll be trying to track her down. Most of the time, she will be working with our dissertation R&R students that I mentioned earlier, because she leads that initiative for us, trying to help those students get on the right track. But you'll see her, and especially on Sunday, she'll be teaching some of the sessions with all Residency 1 and 2 students. So we're very happy to have Dr. Eastman here. Dr. Heather Welsnick earned her PhD from Capella University in Education with a specialist in training and performance improvement. She brings to Argosy more than 14 years of experience in higher education academic administration. She has expertise in curriculum, assessment, program evaluation, faculty development, and accreditation. Her research interests are in faculty and student performance relative to online teaching and learning. Dr. Welsnick began her higher education career at the University of Phoenix Online as a faculty member and full-time instructional specialist. During her 7-year tenure, she served as a faculty trainer, mentor, and peer reviewer. She moved on to accept a position at Laureate International University as the Director of Program Design for the interdisciplinary domain of Product Development Group, that's a mouthful. While at Laureate, she was promoted to Executive Director for Quality Assurance, where she is responsible for ensuring the delivery of high-quality programs and services throughout all of the Laureate institutions. And prior to joining Argosy, Dr. Welsnick served as the Associate Vice Provost of Academic Performance Improvement at the University of Maryland University College. So Argosy University, as you can see, she has a wealth of experience. Argosy was very fortunate to secure her talents and expertise as our Vice President of Academic Affairs for online programs. So please welcome Dr. Welsnick. She'll be with us throughout the weekend and visiting some of your classes. You may see her pop in and out. And if you'll come up and say just a few words.
That was more about myself than I really needed to hear, and I will say that I have some big shoes to fill. I wish I could have gone first. I'm not that funny or interesting as Dr. Allen or Dr. Wynn, but I'll be brief. I'm really here for you, and you, the students, and also our faculty and staff. First, very much, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for choosing Argosy, clearly I did my writing on the plane on Southwest, because we want to thank you for flying Southwest. We know you have a lot of choices. So yes, I like how it's funny. So I did my writing on the plane ride down here, and I was thinking that I really do thank you for being here. And I know I've only been here 3 short months, but I have been in higher education for a long time, more than 14 years, because I started as faculty. And something I'll tell you that I find really special about Argosy is the people, and the people that are here to support you, your faculty and staff. I have never, in my experience, encountered so many people that care so much about the student experience, and it's real, and I'm saying it's real. And I know 3 months in, you're thinking, she's still drinking the Kool-Aid, maybe, but not true. I've seen some inspirational and extraordinary efforts on your behalf, so thank you. Thank you for taking the time this weekend. I know you've given up a lot, as Dr. Wynn had said. But also I ask you, when you go back home, thank those who are supporting you, those family and friends and colleagues who are picking up the slack so that you could be here this weekend. Make sure to thank them too. They're part of your journey for sure. I also want to congratulate you. As Dr. Wynn said, you are embarking on something that very few people do. And so I Googled how many people have doctorates in the global society or in the US. And I dare say I will not share out those numbers with you, because first I came across Wikipedia, not so sure that data was accurate. Then I found a DOE site, Department of Ed, and it only had master's or greater. So you can see it really requires almost a dissertation study to share with you those statistics on how many people actually secure a doctorate degree. But what I will tell you, and I'm comfortable saying, is it's very few people. So I congratulate you. And then lastly, we, and my colleagues and I, we're excited to celebrate you when you finally reach that brass ring. And I just finished up at my previous institution mentoring doctoral students, and hooding, part of the ceremony there at commencement is hooding your students. And it was one of the most spectacular moments of my life to be there and support my students who actually got that brass ring. That's all I wanted to say.
You said something our residency 2 students, about how many students 25 years, or how many people 25 years and older have a doctorate degree? Residency 2. Dr. Bill Nowlin would be wanting you to know this. What would he tell you? Oh, you learned nothing. Just approximately 1%, correct? Is that about what you found? Dr. Nowlin will sit here and have state by state. He'll give them homework and make them report it. And he couldn't be here with us this time, but you should go back and look at your state because it shows that you're making a big commitment to be part of that 1% club. When you walk into a room, you may surround yourself right now by people who have degrees of that caliber, but it's not the usual. So it helps you recognize just what your journey really is. So it is something that maybe could frighten you, but also encourage you because you're doing something special here. So you really have to recognize it and you really have to take that in order to keep that commitment and know that when it gets tough, it's worth it at the end. Another thing Dr. Welson said, it is really, you can get the idea you've heard between Troy, between Heather, how many people have said something about Argosy being a family, right? Like you have this extended family, not just because you're with us for a while, you get to know us on all those online forums and phone calls and that kind of thing, but also you hear the common theme that the faculty really care. You know, they really care about your success and really want to help you succeed. And often when you enter a degree program of this caliber, you're assessing, you know, what is this going to take out of my life? What is this going to cost me? What is this going to do for me? Is this worth it? What is this degree really going to do for me? I'm sure you probably all went through some of that to make this commitment, right? But by the time you graduate from this program, you will have experienced, we hope, a mind shift where it's no longer about what this degree can do for me, but what can I do for others now I have this degree. And that's where the service really does come in. And you can see that just from some of the poster presenters and roundtable facilitators that we have with us this morning and that were here last night for our poster session. These are graduates of Argosy University who came here at their own time and their own expense just to help you succeed, to help you see examples that yes, you can finish. These are the kind of products that you'll have. Granted, these are the small little versions of it, right? This is what you have. This is my experience. This is what I did. This was my journey. And those people came back. They were part of you. They were you sitting there experiencing the same doubts that you may have, or the same anxieties that sometimes you have. And they did it, and they were successful, and they came back to help you realize that. So I want to introduce our poster session roundtable facilitators. We call it our postdoctoral symposium. So I'll ask you to just stand when I call your name, and just remain standing for a minute. Dr. Troy Allen, Dr. Cheryl Carr, Dr. Jonathan Dabra, Dr. Jason Giese, Dr. Stella Nunga, Dr. Carla Rossini, and Dr. Laura Thompson. Let's give them a hand. Thank you so much. If you haven't thanked them already, thank them for giving their time last night and today to be here with you. And if you haven't talked to them, make sure you do. You can't have a better role model right now and can't learn more great tips right now from anyone but them. So again, I thank you for you giving back to our students after your journey. So And finally, this residency wouldn't be possible without some of the incredible staff that we bring with us. So I'm going to introduce them, and we'll have a few announcements. So we'll take a little break before our roundtable facilitation that we'll have in just a few minutes before our roundtable activity. So let me introduce to you our staff. I'm going to introduce our event coordinator, our event manager, Courtney Kasich, if you'll come up. Courtney's the person to know. She's the one that plans the food, plans the drinks, plans the location and such. So if you have any special needs and such, Courtney will help take care of you. She'll let you know where she's going to be. We'll have an information desk set up, and she'll introduce the staff that she brought with her.
I'm short, so I always adjust the microphone. Well, first, good morning and welcome to Dallas. I'm sure you've heard that a lot. We are very thankful that you're here. Residency is one of my favorite things to do, so we're very excited that you're here. First, I'm going to start off with introducing my faculty, or my staff, I should say, that came with me from Pittsburgh. So over here to the left, you will see Mr. Brent Wiggum. He is your finance counselor this weekend. So please set up an appointment to hang out with him and chat with him and talk about your finances. He's awesome. I'm sure some of you already have him as your finance counselor and know that. This lady in the back in the black and white dress is Barb Klemensky. She is our academic counselor for this weekend. So some of you I know are also her students. She can help you even if she's not, if you are not her student. She can look all of you up. She can give you your grad date and all of those fun things. So they both have sign-in sheets to sign up for an appointment. Please do. It'll probably be very beneficial for you if you sit down with them for 30 minutes and talk about your finances, talk about your academics. So they're a great resource. Please use them. And then our third partner in crime, who is not here, he had to run to campus to do a couple of things for his team, is Bill Turner. You'll see him, he's a short dude, bald head. He would hate that I just said that. He will be in and out of classes. He's our admissions manager for our grad team in Pittsburgh. So a lot of the people that got you into your programs, he's their manager. So he will be in and out. He's never been to a residency, so make it as difficult on him as possible. But he wants to see what you guys see, right? He wants to experience what you guys experience. He wants to take it back to his staff so they can give you students and future students a better experience. So that's our whole goal here, right? Is for you to have a great experience and for you to tell all your friends, you should get your doctorate at Argosy, right? So that's the point, I mean, really. So, the education part, what else? So, all right, I'm a little funny. So I do have a few announcements for you. First, if you're staying here at the hotel at the Sheridan, you should have received breakfast vouchers when you checked in, if you booked under the Argosy rate. So you should have got one for tomorrow and Sunday. That you will use those right literally behind us in the bar area. There's the breakfast area there. You'll give them your breakfast voucher and your breakfast will be obviously complimentary. If you didn't get them when you check in, I would go back to the front desk and just tell them you need your breakfast vouchers. That opens at 6:30 a.m. I know some of you early birds or some people who are on time difference, that will help you. It goes until 10, but as you guys I'm sure paid attention to your schedule, classes start at 8:30. So you need to be at the campus starting at 8 a.m. I'm going to reiterate that a couple of times. This is a secure campus. Please do not show up before 8 a.m. You will not be able to get in, and we will not show up as a staff before 8 a.m. to let you in. Don't follow anybody in the building. Don't do it. Okay? So I'll reiterate that a couple of times in my announcements. Wi-Fi is complimentary whether you booked under the Argosy rate or not. That is different from way of staying here in the past, so that's great for everybody. And then if you did book under the Argosy rate and you did rent a car or brought a car or drove, you have a reduced parking rate from $12 a day to $6 a day. Okay? If they charge you any different, let me know and we'll get it adjusted for you. So, I'm sure some of you have seen the Argosy campus is right across the parking lot here. The address, in case you need it, you're coming from a different location, is 5001 Lyndon B. Johnson Freeway. It's in the Heritage 2 building. There's 2 buildings across the street, 1 and 2. We're in 2, one with the big Argosy sign on the top. Okay? It is a secure campus, as I mentioned. So please, everyone was given a name tag yesterday. Please wear your name tag. That's how they identify as our student,
And there are guards that patrol, and if you get locked out, sometimes I'll get a call, this is your student, they're walking around, and we'll say, yep, let them in. So please wear your name tag, okay? They have ample parking if you just do decide to drive. Please do not park in any spots that say visitor 2 hour. If you're there longer than 2 hours, they will tow your car at your expense. So please don't park in those spots. There is a huge white parking structure behind the building. Please park there. Okay, unless you're handicapped, then you obviously can park handicapped spots. But anything that says reserved or 2 hour, please don't park there. Okay? You can walk, which is what a lot of us will do. Please keep in mind that it's going to be hot this weekend, like over 100 degrees. So keep that in mind. Stay hydrated. We will have beverages at the campus. So please stay hydrated this weekend. I'm not a fan of going to the hospital, but as we learned last residency, I'll go if I have to. So, but please just be careful, and you know yourself better than anybody, so keep that in mind. So, as I said, the Dallas campus is secure. Wear your name tag. The doors will not open for you to get in before 8 a.m. Okay, 8 a.m. Don't try to get in at 7. Don't try to get in at 7:30. You will not be allowed to get in the building. Okay. We will have staff in the lobby every day at 8 a.m. just in case you can't get in. But starting at 8 a.m. you should be fine. The only day that's an issue is Sunday because the building is actually completely closed and we're the only ones there. So we will have staff in the building to get you in and to up on the elevator. Okay, any questions before I move on? Okay.
That is the reason to not be late on Sunday.
Yes.
Because you will be locked out of the building. And then if you don't know how to reach us, you will be locked out of the building for a long time.
Yeah.
So make sure you're on time on Sunday because we have experienced that before. Something happens and somebody's out there, they don't know how to reach us and we don't know they're out there. We keep our staff for so long for any people that are a few minutes late, but then, you know, that happens. So you don't want to miss a session. I'll be talking to you about that in my announcements. But Courtney thinks people are going to come early. I think people are going to come late.
We'll see. Maybe we have that. You had a question? We'll be at the campus after this the rest of the time. So we'll be on the second and third floor depending on your schedule. So that's another point. Make sure you have your portfolios, make sure you have your schedule. That will be your best friend this weekend. It has everything you need for class. It has your schedule, it has your handouts, it has the menu for lunch, which is the most important thing in there. So you have everything that you need. Okay, so that's your best friend this weekend. I mean, you'll make a bunch of friends, but that portfolio should be with you all the time. Okay? The other thing we cannot do at the campus is control the room temperature. So if you're someone who's on the cooler side, please bring a sweater. The room temperatures vary room to room, as we have found out. Some can be a little warmer, some can be a little cooler. So please take that into consideration. And we just can't control it. I apologize in advance. It's just the way it is. So lunch is provided every day, as you guys seen probably from the menu. It will be in room 218, 219 all weekend. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. So, like I said, Barb and Brent are here to help you guys. They will be in room 231, which is a conference room, so they'll be in the same room. So you could sign up for an appointment for both of them at the same time, but please sign up for an appointment. They are very excited to be here and very excited to help you. And they're both residency veterans, so they've probably seen it and heard it all. I will be in room 236, which is the student lounge. So if you want to have any questions or you want to come hang out, that's where I'll be. So please make sure you guys sign into the sign-in sheets on your table. That is how you get credit for this weekend. You will be given a sign-in sheet for every class. Please make sure you sign in. If you don't sign in, come and see me in 236 and we'll get you signed in. If you have to leave for an emergency, I should know or Dr. Wynn should know, because we don't want to mark you as a no-show or absent and not get credit for the weekend. Okay? You all want to get time served, as I say, so make sure you sign in. It's really, really important. Okay? Let's see. If you're missing anything, come see me. If you need anything, come see us. Barb and Brent can also help you. And I just want to reiterate again, we're here to serve you. So part of that is a survey that we do. So you'll get a survey on Sunday right before you leave in your email. Please take the survey. We can't change anything that you didn't like, and we can't help you and future students if we don't know what's wrong. We can't fix it if we don't know it's broke. So please take your survey. It's about 16 questions, really easy. Please take the survey. We'd really appreciate it. And if you want to say how funny and awesome we were, that's okay too. If not, that's okay. So again, have a great weekend. And I want to reiterate how great your faculty and staff are this weekend. They are here for you, so utilize them. Utilize their expertise, talk to them. They've probably seen it and heard it all as well. So talk to them and use them. Okay? That's it. Thanks guys, and have a great weekend.
For all your efforts for this busy weekend. So we're going to have just a 5-minute break, and during that time, there's still some coffee and juice and such in the back if you'd like. What I'm going to ask you to do is each of you have a table assignment. And so if you're not already sitting at your assigned table, you'll want to get there for the group roundtable discussion that we're about to have. I will introduce that momentarily with the directions, as well as have some final announcements before we conclude today.
That worked for me. Things that help me successfully manage my time, write well, and successfully defend my dissertation. Those are your big three. Yeah. Managing time, for me, I learned what worked for me. You can read all the books you want about time management. You can go to all the seminars. You can have all the tools. I have digital, I have print, I have apps. You have to learn what works for you. I have a natural body clock. I'm an early riser. I'm up at 4:30. That was military. So I grew up in a very disciplined, rigid home. And I'm no good after 8.
So what I thought we might be able to do is first, since you're all residency 1, is first talk a little bit about what are some of your concerns? What your goal? You're in here. You clearly want to you're pursuing your degree. You've been here for a program or two. What are some of your concerns? And maybe we, as people who've been through the program, people who are faculty in the program, who have gone through degree programs themselves, maybe we can speak to some of that and help talk to you about some of the ways that we address that. We can all together come up with some success factors, which again will lead you to some strategies. Maybe we can brainstorm how to be successful in those areas.
I would imagine the greatest concern, I know mine is performing the actual stuff.
Okay.
The classwork is not as intimidating, I don't think.
This morning, the quality of humility. That's it. Both of you really exemplify. It's tremendous.
Okay, I'm sorry, I nominate you to be the spokesperson. That was so well said. Okay, we have our you'll do a wonderful job, and we thank you.
I gotta take notes now. Okay. Thanks, boss.
I'm a good delegator.
Okay.
That's not actually being humble, is it?
I want people to know that I did express deference to the ladies first, It's the Me Too generation now, right?
Oh, that's
Oh,
fair.
wow, that's
I don't know if you don't want to take the notes. I don't mind doing that, but I just don't want to present.
Okay, yeah, well, you can look at, you could take notes
Teamwork.
also.
Yeah, that's great.
I love it. So teamwork, I think that's a great start, for sure. You may have a burning question that you want to ask of a residency 2 person, or
Are you residency 1 first?
that's me. Yeah.
Residency 2?
You're shaking. Yes. Jump in.
No, I don't really know that I have a question, but I will say that I feel a lot different from my residency 1 now that I'm in my residency 2, because I don't know about you guys, but I was like very anxious. I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, oh my.
I guess put the same energy you put into your career.
What does the research show? Accept that.
I'm resident
residency one, so I have a very non-pinpointed idea of what I want my dissertation to be, and it morphs on a class basis. So what I do is any assignment that we're given for research, I do my dissertation topic. The problem is that now my dissertation has gotten a lot bigger than it originally started. So I have all this research, and now it's taken a life of its own.
Yeah, but some of that will help for the exam. Did you guys already take the?
So you say your class report is qualifying exam?
Have you already taken the qualifying exam?
R2, the residency 2 students will have, but not one.
So some of that extra stuff's going to help in the qualifying exam.
Yeah, I keep everything. I never throw anything away, and I put notes. This is about blah 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 blah.
It's going to help in that area. You never know what they're going to ask you.
But at least when you've built all these related interests, you can pick a piece.
It's been great because I said, Patrick, he said, what's up? And he knows that if I call, I'm not calling just to ask him how's the weather. It's AB, it's all business. And it shouldn't be all business, but I'm not going to worry him and pick his brain. But this is a reminder of wisdom for everyone. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind. Period, always, period. And that's something that came out of Kate Spade, lost her life a few weeks ago. Everybody's going through something. So regardless of what it looks like, how it's camouflaged and decorated and smells, everybody's battling something that you cannot see. And I just believe that being kind to one another in our dialogue online, being kind to one another when we're face to face, you never know what someone else is going through. And I am a case manager on the high school level. We're various hats on the high school level in the public school, but I lost a student 2 days ago to suicide, so it's real. And the last time I hugged this student, I can remember. The last time he spoke to me, I can remember. Wasn't under my umbrella, had no connections, but just that smile. And that's one thing we all have in common is a smile. But being kind is, to me, it has gotten me to where I am. And like I said about Dr. Reagan, whether she was sitting here or not, I still would say I will bottle her up. And I'm saying that because not just because of the entity of a colleague, but and Patrick knows as well that iron sharpens iron. And that's something
to the current day. I also did a pretty strong study of my method, which was a Delphi study method, and I went all the way back to when it was invented and then how it was applied in several different areas. So I had a somewhat naive idea of how fast I was going to be able to do it.
Yeah, so would you recommend not to delve off into all of those areas then?
Well, in my case, I had to.
Oh, okay.
Because, and I didn't, the breadth and depth of what I was doing, I was directed to do by my chair. And my chair was like, well, you have a really good background. I think you're smart enough to do this. I think you should do X, Y, Z. You can handle it. And I was pretty much trapped. I was like, sir, I'm a little dumber than you think. You know, I couldn't say that. So I had to just do it. So even though it was more than I really wanted to bite off.
Okay, so each time you finish a chapter, you would submit it to your chair to review it?
And then just keep going. And then just keep going.
Okay.
And then I have to say, though, that it was a very arduous process.
Yeah.
And by the end, I was utterly exhausted.
Sure.
I mean, I was like, I got this done in November, and I would say it was April or May before I even felt right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to work, I was exhausted. I mean, the amount of, and I was a little different because I was like 50, I don't know.
What kind of topic you want to do for your dissertation, you should have files for that too. When you go to do your DQE, if you have everything in files on topic and on classes, and they're all labeled the right way, it's going to be a breeze. It'll be a snap because it'll be together, and you don't have to worry about it at all. And it also is going to help us once you get into the dissertation of being able to refer to it. So I would definitely say, and another thing is, the same thing that's coming up, have a group of people that you'd be in touch with. Like I have Sherry and I have Mike Mark, and we're always in contact with each other about the classes. I hadn't heard from her, Sherry, in a couple of classes, and because I've been thinking about it.
Oh, I believe it.
And then she told me she was sick, and I thought, I felt bad because maybe I should have reached out and said something to her, you know. I had her email. But she came here and I found out she had been in class.
And sometimes you have to be you might not be exactly. You find out that the research has already been done. Right. Depending on what number they call. Depending on like if they call table 2 first, and of course you get the full gamut. What ends up happening is that over time, you know, you'll hear some of the same things, so you got to pick on that list of things that you haven't heard. So it's going to take a while. Say it this time. The last couple times she's been saying just say 2. Yeah. Sometimes go over. No, they do. They get excited. So in a few minutes, because we still got time, but we got a long list here. You guys seem like really caring, like really caring about other people and what you do for them.
But in counseling psychology, you will actually not be finished with all your research courses before you start your doctoral research. So you'll take that intro to research, you'll take that qualitative research class, and then we'll get you started on your literature review. And so as you're working on your literature review, then you'll take another research class like your applied research or your quantitative research class, and then you'll work on chapter 1. So you'll have all your research classes in before you actually try to plan your methodology, but that puts your methodology just as close to your actual writing of your methodology as possible. And so that's why it's like that. But pastoral community counseling, you will have just finished those research courses and then you'll start the whole thing. So it just depends on the program, but that's the way it works now. And you'll finish that last, take your comprehensive exams, and you'll get a session this weekend about the comprehensive exam. I took it. Oh, you already took it? Oh, well then I will let her know she won't be teaching you in that class because, like I said, you're our only one. So you'll have a session about the dissertation process, and but you took your comp exam already, so you are really ready to start your dissertation. You have one class left or no classes left after this?
I'm taking the qualitative now, and then I start my 1 day.
Your D9001 class. Yes.
I start that in July.
Okay, great. So you just did your residency and comp exam reverse because of the timing of the residency. Yeah. So
Doctor, thank you for the information. I express deference to the ladies here, but I was asked to be the recorder. So I want to make sure I get my facts straight. All right. So.
Well, you don't even have to report on that. You just want to report on things that will help you succeed.
Yeah.
Like
relax. That's the first thing. That's what we're gonna.
Like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Let's hear from.
Let's hear from residency
Sasha. Let's hear. What are your?
I can see the wheels turning.
I know. What's been successful for you? Helpful?
I think asking questions. So I found out about this program because my supervisor at my job actually graduated from this program. And you know, he's very like always calm, cool, like that's just how he is. And you know, I'm like a stressor sometimes, so I'm kind of like over the years in between where sometimes
that, you know, well, I talk to you, I talk to whoever. I'd say this out loud. We talk to one another about what we're going to write about. And then I go there and I'm blank. Record those conversations. Then when you draw that blank, just listen. And that's what we were talking about. Yeah, no. You know, so that you have that stimulus that'll also take you over that
Marcus, what about you?
Well, it's about the same for me. I have the same situation. Well, basically just like putting it all together. But like you say, I'm not concentrating on it right now, but just getting it all and putting it all together. So that's pretty much it.
Use your grading room. I mean, you have your assignment, but you're graded from the grading room.
Yeah.
Your assignment says these topics, make sure you're addressing those. Not just your opinion, and then but make sure that you've addressed it in the grading room. I graded this morning. Last night, And a lot of the assignments I had come in had nothing that aligned to the grading room. You know, if this talks about HR concerns or challenges, and I don't see the word challenges anywhere in the paper, how do I know you're talking about challenges?
Yeah, but yeah.
Especially as you're learning that rubric, it's almost like a roadmap.
Yeah, I use it. I like from the rubric.
Yeah.
And I look at what the rubric calls for. It might have 3 things that you have to do.
Sure.
Well, those 3 things is what.
Those are the 3 main topics. Oh, yeah. 3 main level 1.
It's the roadmap. Here's what I'm looking for. You discover this. You've achieved learning.
Moment, the same culture, doing the same thing that you do, so when you're stressed, you can actually distress yourself. For me, another thing that helps me a lot, because it is a stressful journey, you have to learn how to distress yourself. Distressing yourself, you can buy books. Like I said, I'm visual. I use this. It has a lot of motivational things that I read. So just like she said, you have to learn who you are. What helps you out? How do you distress yourself? I also counsel on classroom management, which she talked a lot about. I, for one, just looking at all these glasses up here, if I'm studying, I can't concentrate. I have to make sure that where I study is still clustered, because I'm very claustrophobic. You want to find out those little things. It doesn't take much. Those little things that you can do to distress yourself. Maybe join. After you study for 2-3 hours, take a walk. When you take a walk, you come back and find out that, you've really distressed yourself. You can start off. So this is something that is a choice that you've made, and I know you are.
But I just don't want to deter me what my practice.
One thing that you will learn, and that I learned is, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. The way I pick my articles, the way I use the facts, and the way I use my logic, it's mine. No one can take that away from me. I don't care how many citations, I don't care what the professor says. That's what I was This is mine, and no one can have it. This is my idea.
Thank you, because that earlier stuff, I was like, I'm going to
I researched 10 articles, I'm taking 2 of them. Why? Because I think that one's important. I got that out. I got it out. I got 2 articles in here, and in these 2 articles, there's 1,000 facts. I'm picking 10.
Yeah.
And then I'm creating an argument, and at the end of that, I may not even say, and furthermore, but the mere fact that I picked those 2 articles out of the 10, those facts, that's mine. And so I don't care what anybody says. This is mine. Now the fact of the matter is, if I'm the new surgeon, and the old surgeon says, "Hey, you do that, you're going to nick the artery," I'm going to say, "Yes, sir. What do you want me to do?" But this is still my patient. And no one can have it.
All right.
Right?
We welcome from that student. So that's good.
Well, it's a balance.
Welcome back.
It's a balance. I want to take the advice.
But no, and I get it.
Right? I mean, I want to take the advice.
Yeah, we got it.
Because we're paying this person. The person has been there, and they're giving me advice. How am I going to say no?
No, and I get no.
I'm going to take it, but I'm going to do it my way.
With that. No, I completely get. I mean,
it's a balance.
But when you're very passionate about what your vision is, what you want to do, and I think for me, like I appreciate that the courses that we take are a foundation to help us complete and get the dissertation done. Like I look forward to the different studies, and way to look at how to analyze the data. So I welcome that, look forward to that. But what I'm hoping to do is really use this time, since I'm setting this time aside now, sacrificing. I want to be writing stuff. You know what I mean? I want it to be used, and I want to be able to go through.
You don't have a rhythm, you don't have a discipline.
Put it away. And don't really try to make your wife understand. All you're trying to do is trying to and then you sit down and read it. I was a terrible my top
order 2 ideas. I know you have lots and lots, but you know, the first group can't take them from all the other tables, so we have to leave some room for the others to report. So, speaking of which, we will start with table 3. City documents.
Right here.
Hi, my name is Lee Moore, and I'm in the DBA program. And the advantage of being first is there's no comparison, okay? So we get to be the benchmark. Anyway, so I say all that to say that we had a really good discussion at our table. One of the things that we learned from the faculty is how important it is to have that agreement with your chair to determine, hey, look, this is what my study schedule, my process will be. I'll have the method done by this point, and then really just agree to what those terms of communication are. So if you prefer to be someone that speaks on the phone, or if you prefer to text, that you establish that with your chair in the beginning. So did that address that first one?
Don't forget balance.
Yeah, find that balance with that. So that way you can know, hey, look, I have this expectation, and this is how we'll follow through. Okay, so that was our first thing. And then our second thing was time management.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that's our two keys there. So does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, how do you do time management?
Well, I was hoping to slide by, you know? Throwing that big word out there, time management. So we had a varying ideas, like the gentleman that just finished. He said that he set aside 8 to 2 p.m. every night and gave up weekends. I'm still working on that. You know, maybe next year this time I'll be saying that, but I'm not saying that right now. So it's about developing a time schedule that's more conducive and realistic to who you are as an individual. So if you're not used to cramming on the weekends, then don't set that as a goal. You know, if you're in bed by 8, you know, then you don't set 8 to 10 as the time that you're going to be working on your documentation. So it's really conducive to who you are as an individual, but be sure that you hold yourself accountable, just like your instructors do in your normal curriculum. So I think that's about the time management.
Great. That was great, because you're right, you're going to find what works for you. Okay, next, table 2.
Hi, my name is Kalisha Johnson. I'm in the DBA program. I'm not as lively as her, but so I think a lot of us forget about the mental stability when it comes to getting stuff like this done. We're so focused on like the time management aspect. So for our group, we put to protect yourself. Sometimes you have to be a little bit selfish. You have to make some sacrifices to get things done. And you know, that also comes into play with, like they were saying earlier, you know, you got to thank your family, because a lot of times, you know, you're leaving things behind and they are our support. The other thing would be treat yourself. You know, sometimes you have to reward yourself. I know I have this really bad, you know, sometimes you just gonna have to learn how to get away from the work aspect and just focus on yourself. And of course, the last thing was back again, like your social and mental support. That is key. You know, sometimes you might not have a community staff to go to. Maybe you can go to a friend or, I don't know, like another student that's going through the same thing you're going through. You can vent to each other, kind of like support each other to push through. So I think that's just really important for us to understand.
Dr. Mancini is behind table to be next. That support structure really is so important. And one of the things I usually say at every residency is, this is a time for you to develop some of those supports. This is a time for you to develop little cohorts together. And we've had people that met in residency 1 that came back in residency 2 and shared a room and shared expenses and such, because they connected at residency 1 and the rest of their program. They stayed in touch and became support systems for one another. I always tease it. We had one family, we talk about this Argosy family. We had this couple that met in residency 1, got married, came back at residency 2, she was pregnant. We took a picture of them. I said, you guys really took this Argosy family stuff serious. So, yes, that's a true story. So, definitely, you should make these networks, because you know that even though your family may support you, your friends may support you, they don't really understand your journey. So, they're saying, you're still on that doctorate program? You're still working on that? So it does take 4 years. So, you have friends here that understand your journey. So make those connections this weekend. That's why part of what we do in this breakfast and lunch as such is to recognize that you need time for networking. So, so definitely, thank you. Excellent tips. So table 1.
We're going to be loud.
Let me tell you, there have been some great speakers here today, starting at the top, okay? And I'm learning from some of the best here, just phenomenal. Dr. Allen and Dr. Wenzel and Dr. Wynn. And I'm listening to some of my colleagues that I don't even know yet, and everybody just said some great stuff. And I'm going to get to the group in a minute. I tell you, we had 8 points. And then they remind, I says, wait, I got 8 points here. And I was reminded, I think it was by Dr. Allen and Dr. Wells. I can only discuss 2. So I'm trying to synthesize this now from 8 points to 2. So I'm thinking fast here, but I just have to say one thing that I think does relate. This will be point number 1. And I saw this immediately when Dr. Allen was speaking. He got to the podium, and this is so important. He talked about how his heart was beating fast, and I could empathize with that. But he saw himself not just as himself. He saw himself, there's something greater in life than himself. And I think that's a key to something that's so important as one wants to try to climb Argosy Mountain, to get to the top. There's something that I feel is called humility, that the faculty, the brass of Argosy is talking about, that's helped them on their climb and their quest to seek meaning in life. Knowing that they're not alone climbing the mountain. There is a power greater. However a person perceives of life, and I quoted Star Wars, there's a life force. It flows through everything. I'm serious. I mean, George Lucas, I don't know if he's a modern day prophet, but he says, he talked about religion without talking religion. He talked about spirit, he talked about a life force. I believe that. It flows through everything, and that's when a person can come to a podium and just recognize there's something greater than oneself. And I think that can help relax a person, knowing that there's something that can help a person with that climb. And also, I want to connect that to the other point. So one point is humility, okay? And that can help a person relax. And the other thing is having a balance. I mean, the day sometimes can be really active and busy, like between the emails and the course study, the whole day could be like, one big, just really fast day. And what we're learning is that each day is precious, each person is precious, but at the same time, try to have a balance in one's day. In other words, one day at a time. There's the mountain to climb, hopefully, but one day at a time, one step at a time. And one of the ladies at the table has like this little elephant, she's wearing around her, and somebody says, what's that all about? Take like one bite at a time. And then you can have the whole Super Bowl party, So anyhow, so 2 main points synthesized from 8, and if you want, maybe later I can go over some of the 8 points, but the big 2 is humility, as we've seen this morning from the brass, and also relax, chill, and each day is precious, and find some time to make it a balanced day, whether it's having some exercise like sometime during the week, eating right, getting the right amount of sleep, which I haven't been doing, but those things are important to do, is to have a sense of humility and balance out your day. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Larry. May the force be with you. Okay, now, what table are you, Dr. Mancini? Table 5. Okay, table 6. So whoever sits at this table is usually last. I'm sorry.
On the bright side, Dr. Mancini, and the first shall be last and the last shall be first. So we had a lot of really good discussions at our table. By the way, my name is Angela Pena. How many of y'all remember Gullah Gullah Island?
Yes.
Y'all remember Binya Binya? Yes. I was in college when Binya Binya was popular. So my drunk college friends, I never got drunk.
Oh, yeah.
My drunk college friends used to call me Binya Binya, and it stuck. So now I'm Pena Pena. I am working on leadership. I don't know why anybody would want me to lead them, but okay. So what we came up with was a couple of things. I think the first one is really amazing, and they talked about making files for each class, and instead of naming it like W7000, M1, A1, name it what the topic is after you're done, so that when you get ready to do your DQE, you can find all that, which is smart, genius. There were some other ones about networking and asking for help, and I just thought it was just amazing. Save your articles in PDF files, you can find them easier. Make Google Docs your best friend, because Google Docs is definitely my best friend. I don't know how I would live without it.
Tell them what it is in case they don't know what Google Docs is.
Oh, okay, so Google Docs it's a cloud system. If you know Microsoft Word, you can pretty much switch over to Google Docs. It saves it in a cloud. If your computer crashes, you won't lose your stuff. If you're out, like say, I don't know, at an Argosy training in Dallas and you don't live in Dallas, you have access to it even if you're not home with your computer. So definitely make Google Docs your friend. I do a training on Google Docs for teachers. So if you want to know a little bit more, I can be happy to do that for you, help you out with that. Any questions? Thanks.
Excellent strategy. So that will be at lunch. At what time are you going? I'm sure you will have some takers, definitely.
Yes. Thank you.
And yes, saving your file, some kind of backup system. Carbonite's another one that people use, $50, $60 a year, automatically backs up. If you think you're going to save it on a jump drive, you're not going to do it as often as you should. So just make sure that you're doing something that has some kind of automatic backup. Back in the day, before the cloud and such, when I did my dissertation, let me tell you, I had a copy in the car at work and at home. If in case my house or work caught on fire or got in a car accident, I was going to have that dissertation somewhere. So now you're fortunate to have the backups that happen automatically, so take advantage of them. I can't stand it any longer. Table 5.
So I have one of the best tables. Sorry. Okay, so we touched on, I'm sorry, I'm Blue Robin White, DBA. This is my second residency. So we touched on just it being a stressful journey. I'll speak on that. For anyone who tells you it's not a stressful journey, they are lying to you. We didn't say that. So just finding ways to get you past that. Someone at my table said they did jogging. I do kickboxing. It's fun. being able to reach out to your staff members to let them know if something is going on. That'll also help you. Reading other dissertation, like from the beginning. That way you can see like the process from beginning to end. And make sure you understand your research topic. The other one that I learned my first residency, distractions. I used to try to do my work like in a quiet place. That don't work for me. So I need to have like my television on, I'm not watching it, or I'll have my radio on and I'm not listening to it with music. But it's just a distraction for me. Then I'm gonna say non-distractions, when it's very important to you, such as social media. When I took my DQE, I went completely off social media. So people were actually texting me like, what's wrong? You didn't post in a while. I'm like, I didn't know I meant so much to people. But like, no, I'm doing something very important. So I have to get off social media for now. I actually told my family, like, I love you guys, but I'll see you after the DQE. And that's all for us.
Excellent strategies. And you know there are people that need that quiet environment, and then there are people that have to have that background. And then some people can work in both. You know, and depending on how much you're focused in on something, you can kind of tune the world out and people will talk to you and say, what? I didn't hear anything you said. But, you know what works for you and when you're really working on that, get in that zone. I want to just add something to your strategy because it's another good point. Is eventually you're going to stop for the day, right? And depending on when you get to pick back up, we hope that we can work every day, but sometimes, depending on how it works for you, maybe the weekends are your biggest crunch time and you work really long weekends on it, or maybe you work a little bit every day. But when you pick back up, it takes that little bit of time to figure out where you left off. So a great strategy that's been shared in the past is just take a couple extra minutes to write down the next thing you were about to do. That if you would have kept working, that you would have been working on. So that when you come back to it, you can read that quick blurb and know exactly what you were doing. So another excellent strategy that builds on top of yours. So table 4. Let's say the best for last, right? Come on up.
Hi, I'm pretty loud, so. I'm Rosa Cruz, Rosie preferred, and I'm doing the organizational leadership program. We talked about a lot of things. There's mainly a lot of residency 1 students in the table, and basically they told us to stop thinking about the dissertation. Because I know I'm already trying to formulate what I'm going to write about, and I'm getting these writer blocks, and I don't know about you guys, but I do my best thinking at 2 a.m. in the morning. I don't know why when I have to be at work at 8. So basically stop thinking about dissertation, and that the courses are given to us to master some skills. But he's a repository of knowledge so that we're ready to write our dissertation, not that we're writing it right now. Also, writer's block, because everybody said everything else. Writer's block, even if you don't know what you're writing, write something. Even if it's garbage. And just, you'll start, at least you'll write something, you start having an idea of what you're writing, and you'll be able to go back and read it, and then go back and read it again until you're sick of it, and then you read it some more, so that you condense it and it's what you're looking for.
Excellent, because even what we think is garbage sometimes is just getting it on paper, because we're not always good writers, but we can be great rewriters, right? Great rewriters. So I covered every table, right? Because I go out of order, I want to make sure I don't miss any. So with this activity in mind, now we have just a really brief activity to help you keep focused on the fact that you can do this. I'm going to ask Dr. Gillum and Dr. Smith to come up.
Record anything that you're thinking of. Like sometimes I couldn't go to bed and I was thinking of something, but I didn't feel like writing it, so I would just start talking to myself.
So Dr. Smith and I are honored to be able to present both a practical and what we think is possibly motivational activity for all of you. And each of you at your place have this, well, it's an agenda for the day. But it's also done in nice cardstock, so it's a little bit heavier than your normal writing paper. I want you to find this. And being an old elementary person that I am, I'm going to explain to you what the difference between a hot dog fold and a hamburger fold is. Can't hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. From this piece of paper, if I were to fold it this way, that would be a hamburger fold. Picture a hamburger bun in your mind. But if I fold it this way, it's a hot dog fold, right? You can picture that hot dog bun. Now, this is something we genuinely want you to do, and that is what I have done. I have written my name, Dr. Judith Gillum, on both sides. And I want you to write that for yourself. Be sure to put... No. I was just about to say, be sure to put your name on there. So if it's Dr. Janet Wynn or Dr. Al Smith, whatever your name is, but put the doctor in front of it.
Very large, so that you can see it across the room. Very large. Anybody need one?
Now, this is practical because in the sessions, we are going to say to you, put your placard or your place card in front of you so that we can call on you and we can get a feel for who you are in our classes. That's very practical. But there's also the motivational side of this, which I think Dr. Smith is going to possibly talk about. And
that could be motivational? Okay. Yes. No, we're not quite done. Okay, let's do this as a practice to begin to get into that, what it feels like to be finished and have your doctorate. So turn to the person on your right and left and introduce yourself as Dr. Your name.
I like that.
A couple of things to remember. One is, not only will we ask you to use this during this week for us to identify you, but we encourage you to keep this in your workspace and use it as a motivation. We refer to this activity as the Dr. Jim Mitchell Memorial activity because he used to do this each time he would speak. But he referred to the fact that he did this, kept his name, Dr. Jim Mitchell, there in front of him, even as he was working on his dissertation, and it kept that focus for him. We encourage you to do the same, and remember that's the goal. The other thing to remember is we are encouraging you and allowing you to refer to yourself as Doctor here for these purposes, but that does not apply outside of it. Only when you have finished and have your degree and have completed the program can you officially refer to yourself as doctor, or in the case of Dr. Troy Allen, doctor. How many do you have? When you got your multiple master's degrees, did you have people call you master? anyway, thank you for doing this, and do take this to all your sessions so we can. Thanks.
It's nice meeting you all. I wish you good luck. Thank you.
Gives you a good taste. So this weekend, seriously, we're going to refer to you as Dr. whatever your name is, and we want you to put that there. And this weekend, we're going to give you a taste for how that feels. But like you said, just this weekend, and then you earn it. Okay. All right. Just a couple of announcements as we conclude. So Courtney already mentioned we start promptly at 8:30. Room 236 is where we have some coffee. So throughout the day, we'll have coffee and some water and such in that room. Each day, you will be located on 2 floors, the 2nd and the 3rd floor. Mostly Residency 2 is located on the 2nd floor, and Residency 1 is on the 3rd floor. Almost said Residency 3. Residency 1 on the 3rd floor. Not entirely. You will change rooms. You will change groups, so be careful. Right when you get used to us saying that counseling and education are together, all of a sudden we have counseling by themselves. All right, when we have DBA and education together, all of a sudden we have a different group. So pay attention and don't just think just because one person in your group went one way that you go with them. Sometimes we'll separate organizational leadership from DBA. So you just have to pay attention. Now, in your schedule, it's what you need to go to. So as long as you pay attention to your schedule, you're good. But because of that, you will be moving around. Take your things with you. You can tell when you're going to be in a room for a while. And in that case, it's okay to leave your portfolio and that kind of thing. You don't need a computer at the room. You just really need your portfolio and your pen. We don't have enough outlets for all the computers, so that becomes a problem. So if you just really feel like you have to take your computer, you can, but just understand you're going to probably be operating on battery. We just don't have the outlets for that. But what we do is we'll provide you a jump drive on the last day. We'll give you a jump drive of all the PowerPoints. So what you want to do in these sessions are take notes on the things that the instructor's saying or discussions are good points that aren't on the PowerPoint, because you'll already have each of those points that are on the PowerPoint when you leave. You do have Residency 1 in your W7000 class. You have a journal activity that I think is Module 7. And it's a reflection on your residency experience. So these notes you take will be part of that assignment. So, it's helping you for this residency, and it'll also serve as your assignment. So, as a reminder, we have talked to your faculty about giving you some extra time. So, hopefully you won't be stressed, sitting there in a room thinking about something else you should do. Or even at night, we want you to be able to enjoy dinner and get sleep, so that you'll be fresh the next morning and not feel like you have to stay up till 2 a.m. to write that paper. Let's see, I do want to, if you have not, so there was a sign-in sheet earlier this morning, and then there's a new sign-in sheet. The first one was collected after breakfast and such, and now we'll collect this one showing that you've been here all morning. Because the attendance is very important for this weekend. It's how you get the credit for residency. So you have to be here for a designated number of hours of seat time. That was what Courtney was referring to as time served. So you have to, in order to gain credit for residency, be here no less than 23 hours. Normally we'll schedule a class that meets on campus for 28 hours. And so 23 is the bare minimum. We have 23 hours and 15 minutes planned this weekend. So you can see why you really have to be here for every session. So we take that attendance, we collect it every session, make sure that you sign in every session, because if you don't and you're not on that sign-in sheet, we will assume you missed a session. So consequently, because of the way our programs are structured, if you miss a session, you would have to come back to another residency to make that up. That's the only way we can make it up, because it's not a matter of just having you review the PowerPoint. It's a matter of the seat time that you have to have for our accreditation purposes. And that's why it's called residency. That's why you get your residential credit that way. So if you were to run into some emergency, please let us know. Your time started this morning at 8 o'clock. You'll have a little bit of a break in the seat time from 11:30 here in just a minute till 12 to get over to the campus. That's more time than you need. That time does not count, so if you want to run up to your room and do something before, then that's fine. Lunchtime, the 12 to 1 time does count, although we won't have you sign in, so you won't have to look for a sign-in sheet there, but that's that networking time that we talked to you about, where we might have our Google session, or we'll be talking, to one another, getting to know each other so we can build some of those connections and cohorts, learn about some potential topics, get ideas and such, continue that discussion of lessons learned. The lunch is in room 218. It's a combined room, 218, 219 every day. That's where it's served, and that's where you'll be able to dine. So you'll have plenty of opportunity to do that. Faculty, I want to remind you that we have a faculty meeting during lunch today, so you cannot dine in there. I need you in the faculty room just before we start. So, let's see. I think I've just about covered everything. Are there any questions about how this weekend will proceed, what you have in your packet, or anything thus far that would be good for the group? All right, everybody. Well, I thank you. I'm looking forward to a fabulous weekend with you all. Again, you can have a little bit of a break if you want. Lunch is served at 12 o'clock in room 218, 219. They'll probably start a little early.